We're currently experiencing some technical difficulties.
No, I'm experiencing technical difficulties.
She is.
Fucking LDMs, man. Fucking LDMs. It's okay, I'm just waiting for my computer to restart and then we'll try this again.
We're doing that, and I'm over here just like waiting. I'm waiting.
So you had a fun day today.
Yeah?
Yeah, you get to take the helpers out.
Oh yeah, man. My best friend took my dog for a ride today, and we had an interesting day. He did end up barking at some people, but he was a good boy.
Yeah, but there's a difference between his "I'm gonna eat you because you're in my house" bark and the "I am a puppy and I just want you to see me" bark, you know? And no, he's not a puppy anymore. He's 5, so he's a big dog, but
He is, but he is an amazing dog.
he does real good. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. I just think it's funny because he looks so big, people are automatically scared of him, and he's got the pit bull marking, so they're even more scared of him. And then he smiles at them, and they don't know if he's being cute or if they should be terrified. And he literally does smile at them, and he sits his, you know how you know he's like, "I like you" or "you're good," is that he sits like a human. He kicks his feet out, and he sits like a human, and he smiles at you with his tongue hanging out of the side of his mouth.
He does, and it's hilarious.
And like, where did you pick that up? And then I think about it, and Coda used to do that. Only Coda would kick his feet to the side. So instead of sitting like Gilbert does on his tail, he kick his feet to the side and sit like that. It's something he picked up from Coda.
Mr. Dog.
I do too. We're coming up on the year in about, 3 days?
Mm-hmm.
Because I saw the post about when we were going to have to put him down today. And it was the weekend, so 3 days. Yep, those are my bestest friends in a year. I have one left. I'm lucky. Yes, I have one friend Clark.
Morbid.
Well, no, okay, think about it. I have a lot of acquaintances, and I have friends that I've known since childhood that are my friends. They are my friends, but there were 2 people that I confided in. And my dog. And that dog knew all my secrets, and he was such a good boy who took me to the grave. You know? Excuse me.
I can't help but laugh that you say that.
But, yeah, my other friend did too, so. But no, it's just sad to think about. I mean, I do have friends, but there are very, very, very few that I actually confided. You know, the way I look at it is that the first time I tell you something that I'm ecstatic about and you downplay it or aren't genuinely happy for me, I stop telling you everything. Because if you're not happy for my success, then are you happy for my downfalls, for my failures?
No.
Well, yeah, if you're not happy I'm succeeding, you're obviously happy about my failures. And well, some people are just all about, "Oh yeah, you failed, tell me all about it."
Fail again.
Yet when you succeed at something, it's like, "Oh, that's nice. Well, I could have done that, or somebody else did it better." And it's like, "Wow, really? Okay." And guess what those people are called? Toxic motherfuckers. Now, I'm seeing a lot in the music community about toxic people and stuff like that, and, well, I think that it's a good subject because there's a lot of it going around. But, as with everything, what is the very first thing that we have to do? If you don't get this right, I'm going to be upset because I've already talked to you about this. Oh shit. Remember that.
Yeah, you forgot.
Give you an excuse, damn it. Fuck me. Really? So what is toxic? What is the definition of toxic? Because as with everything, such as anger and love and many, 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 many other emotions and words, everybody defines them differently. So what is the definition of toxic? Like seriously, Merriam-Webster that shit. I want to know what Merriam-Webster says toxic is.
Merriam-Webster.
Because I know what I think toxic is, but I also used to work with toxic waste, so biohazard, which is toxic waste. So,
What was that, Merriam what?
No, just type in definition of toxic. It'll bring up Merriam-Webster. That's who wrote the fucking dictionary.
So, definition of toxic, right?
Yes. Well, if we don't know what it is or we haven't defined it, how can we examine it?
Okay, toxic. Adjective. Poisonous.
Okay.
2. Very harmful or unpleasant in a pervasive or insidious way. A toxic relationship.
Okay, read that one again. Here, let me have it. I'll read it. You got that word you don't want to try to pronounce right again. And you had it right. It is pervasive. Very harmful or unpleasant in a pervasive or insidious way. So, what does the question now become? Because I know the meaning of the word, do you?
Mm-mm.
What is pervasive? Right?
Right. You can look me this up.
Okay, hang on a second. So, pervasive. What the fuck? This doesn't. Okay. It does make a lot of sense. It says, in parentheses, especially of an unwelcome influence or physical effect, spreading widely throughout an area or group of people. Interesting, huh?
Very.
Now, hang on a second. Let's go back to toxic. Because there was more, right? Because you said it defined toxic relationships?
Mm-hmm. It said toxic relationships.
Okay. Okay, hang on a second. Translations and more. Okay. Denoting or relating to debt that has a high risk of default. That's finance. Toxic debts. Denoting securities that are based on toxic debt and for which there is not a healthy or functioning market. Okay, so all of that can actually be equated to relationships, right?
Right.
Okay, so I worked with toxic waste. Like, literally, this shit'll fucking kill you.
I remember something you told me.
What?
Did you get chased with a green leg?
Yes, I did get chased around an OR with an amputated gangrene leg. And that is a smell you will never forget. Trust me. There are two smells that I hope to never smell again in my life. And that is a month-old decayed body that was somewhat preserved because of the weather, that permeated 2 floors of the fucking hospital, and it was in a fucking steel cooler in the fucking morgue. Okay? That was one of the worst fucking sickening smells I've ever smelled. And gangrene. Just, no. And it looks just, that is the thing of nightmares, I am sorry. It is yeah.
I can relate. I've seen.
I actually yelled at the dude. I'm like, this is not how you fucking flirt with somebody, dude. This is fucked up, and I walked out.
Damn. I feel your pain.
He quit hitting on me after that, but then one of the nurses said, I'm glad you did that. He's fucking married and got kids. I was like, motherfucker! I should have shoved that gangrene foot up his ass! But anyhow, okay, so that is the definition of, that is the textbook definition of toxic. So how do those definitions of toxic relate to relationships? How could you equate those to relationships? Because that's what we're talking about, right? Toxic relationships?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have a toxic relationship with your dog because all he has to do is look at me with those little puppy dog eyes and get brown things and put his little lips out a little bit, and now I'm just putty in his hand, so yeah, he's manipulating me to get what he wants. Pet me, love me, give me a treat. I love the dog, right? So that would be, by human standards, considered toxic, right? Because if a human did that to you, that would be considered seriously fucking toxic behavior, right? That's manipulation.
Yeah.
It's acceptable from a dog because they just food, love. I'm good. Give me a shit every once in a while. I'm totally good. Right? If humans were only so easy, right? Fuck. So, okay, with that being defined, because that's what we have to do, we're looking at this scientifically, right? No emotions, just scientifically looking at what this is. So, what would a toxic relationship look like? Hit the easy ones, because there's a lot of them you're going to miss, I guarantee. And I know this from psychology, so, you know, you got a double whammy with me. I'm like, okay, I know from experience, way from experience, but I also know psychologically what constitutes a toxic person.
Emotions of grandeur?
That may be a symptom of being toxic, but that doesn't necessarily make you toxic. Look at Luke Skywalker. He saved the fucking entire galaxy. And he was supposedly having delusions of grandeur. Right? Yes, me and my nerdy Star Wars shit story. And that what Han Solo kept saying? Everyone's having delusions of grandeur.
Yeah, it is.
Jedi! A Jedi! Yeah, okay, so what else? Okay, you know about toxic relationships. You've been involved in a few. What were the characteristics of those toxic relationships?
They were mentally abusive.
Okay. Manipulative.
Very.
I remember one of them that had to be on the phone with you every waking moment and got mad when I took your phone and said, "Today's my day, goodbye," and hung up on me. Mm-hmm. And then I took your phone and I wouldn't let you touch it. And we told him we were out in the garden when we really played video games all day.
We did too, it was great.
And you know, just because he's such a manipulator and has to mirror you because that's what he thinks you want. He said he was out in the garden all day too, wasn't he? But wasn't he online playing video games?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, so, okay, that's very toxic that you feel that you have to lie to each other, yes. Or the fact that you have to lie to him to spend time with your family, first off.
Yeah, it's been like that with a few people.
Oh, honey, none of your guys would like me but Kevin because I don't play that shit. And the second you try to pull my daughter away, you learn why my name is Mulberry, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because, no. And a lot of people don't recognize what's really going on because they've looked at themselves and they have become accustomed to it being okay. But the things that I saw, I wouldn't let a man treat me like that. What the fuck makes you think I'm gonna let a man treat my daughter like that? And I see right through you. Don't play this with me. Just because I don't say a lot and you think I'm dumb, don't mean that you know anything.
Well, I also remember with one of them, you had to come out and help me.
2 of them, actually. And both of them left shortly thereafter because, well, I'm not there. There is a point where there's no, okay. If I didn't hold back, I would not have anybody around me because y'all would hate my fucking guts. I'm brutally honest, but I guarantee you I could be more brutally honest. And that's part of why I'm so hard on myself is because I can be that brutally honest. And I hear conversations in my head thinking, did you really need to do that? You're an asshole. So I reprimand myself more than I do anybody else because I hold myself to a higher standard. There is a person I want to be, and if that doesn't align with who I want to be, I don't need to be doing it, right?
Right.
Okay, so what else is toxic? What else are some other toxic behaviors? Because there's some of them that would really surprise you. Being too agreeable is a toxic trait.
Yeah.
You know why?
Yeah.
If you're always agreeable, knowing that it doesn't align with what you really want to do, are you doing yourself justice?
No.
Are you being toxic to yourself by trying to act like something that you're not?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we are capable of being toxic to ourselves. Huh. That kind of changes the playing field a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Okay, I know everybody's all like, Team Johnny, Team Amber. I'm like, toxic motherfuckers, I don't give a fuck. Right? That's what I kept saying every time it would pop up. I'm like, toxic motherfuckers, I don't give a fuck.
It's like they're both toxic. And...
You know, basically what they decided was who was the least worst of them. Right? That's literally what they were deciding. And the whole United States, I mean, fucking A, it was all over the fucking place. They televised this shit, for fuck's sake. And that's all anybody talked about was, oh, well, he did her wrong or she did him wrong. And, oh, now Jason Momoa's in it. You know what? They're all toxic. Because people that aren't toxic wouldn't give a flying fuck because your reputation, if you did it right, would be so fucking stellar, you could do whatever the fuck you wanted and nobody would believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know this from experience, that it's a really fucked up story that makes me look really bad, so I probably won't say it, but let's just say the fucker deserved it.
Oh, very vague.
Okay, you want to know what it was?
Hmm.
When my ex and I started having problems the first time, I met somebody, got to like them, left him. We were split up for at least a year. And I was seeing somebody else, but I couldn't tell him that because he's a psychotic little fucker. And yeah, And it never went past what happened, but we're still friends to this day. And when we got back together and he went out and cheated on me again and came and told me, and so nonchalantly, I just looked him dead in the eyes and said, that's okay, because you're not the only one that keeps secrets. And he's like, what? And I told him about what happened. And to this day, and this is 15 years later, he still doesn't fucking believe me. And bet it happened. You gonna treat me like that and call me out a name? Well, motherfucker, there's a bunch of guys that would be happy to call me my fucking name and treat me better. Right?
Right.
So, I'm not proud of that. I was kind of a very different person then. And I'm okay with that. It happened. I look back on it and the circumstances surrounding it, I still find it fucking hilarious because I was such a good girl. He never in a million years believed that I would do that. And I'm a brazen bitch. I had him over to fucking dinner one night. Yeah. So, let's also go back to we can be toxic to ourselves. I'm sitting here playing with fire because I'm pissed off and I'm scorned and hell hath no fury like a pissed off redhead. I will tell you that right motherfucking now. But my dumb ass is playing with fire because I knew I could. You think you're good? You think I haven't got you pegged? You think I can't play this better than you? Well, I played so good you didn't even know I was playing. Right?
Right.
I mean, dude, that was after that switch had been flipped and I just really didn't give a fuck anymore, I had had enough and there was no emotions attached to it. It was codependency all the fucking way. And again, being toxic to myself. And then I had the nerve to be upset about it. That just, yeah. Fun shit, right? But this is also the person that stopped me from doing what I was trying to do for 5 years. And when I did start doing it, it was fight after fight after fight after fight after fight, and I caved. And for what? What did I cave for? I could have been 5 more years into my career had I just said, all right, fuck you. I choose this. Toxic to myself. Really good at it. I had lots of practice, man. But half of the battle is being able to point out the times when you were toxic to yourself or you were toxic to other people. Because knowing that will help you see when toxic behavior is happening from other people. Right?
Right.
Like, what's the number one thing that toxic motherfuckers do to their women? You can't talk to any men.
No, I remember that. One of my...
What? So what you're basically telling me by telling me that is that you don't trust me. And if you don't trust me around another woman or around another man, what makes you think I'm going to trust you around women? And that gives them the upper leg on you, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, motherfucker, I talk to who I fucking please. If you don't trust me, there's the fucking door. If you're treating me right and you're doing right, you shouldn't have a problem trusting me, right? If I've never given you any reason not to trust me, why don't you trust me? That's a personal problem, not mine. See, the problem is that we have to be secure within ourselves to be secure within a relationship. Because if you're not secure with yourself, you're always going to question the person you're with, especially if you have a history like mine. The best choice in a man I ever made was Staka and Coda. And that says a lot.
It does say a lot.
But by knowing that, I can choose better, right?
Right.
But I still am always going to have that fear that if I like you, there's got to be shit I'm not seeing, and I know how this always turns out. And the only man that I will allow to break my heart at this point in my life is my son. But I also know that I still need to work on me.
Yeah.
So how do you think that you have been toxic to yourself? Oh, come on. I just told a horrible story about myself. You can let some cat out of the bag.
Goodness.
You don't have to tell the whole scenario, but
Um,
can you see points in your life where you have been the toxic person?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or that you followed a toxic person down their path?
Yeah. Several, actually.
And do you see how you got there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to know how you combat all that? Literally how you combat all that is you know yourself better than anything in this world. Because then if you know all of you, your dark, your light, everything in between, right? You're snarky, you're kind, all of it. You can see by actions and by circumstances exactly what people are going to do. Does it ever freak you out? I'm like, yep, and this is about to happen, and boom, it happens. Or are you past that already?
I'm past that.
Sam, I could run around making millions telling people I'm fucking psychic. I got a questionnaire you need to fill out, and I'll tell you anything you need to know. No, I should have been an FBI agent, which should tell you something. Psychics are fake. They're just really good at reading people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people are going to get pissed off at me for that one, but fight me. I, for a while, believed that, and then I learned psychology, and I figured out what it really was, so hire me and I'll keep my mouth shut forever. I just won't do anything. You can just pay me like $40 an hour. Right? Your secret's safe with me. Now we just gotta go kill every psychologist on this planet because they know too. Sorry. I couldn't help it. Come on, you gotta lighten the mood, okay?
You're hilarious. No, I'll share.
Okay.
I had a friendship that was really toxic.
Oh yeah. And your mama was screaming it from the rooftops, and you're like, no, no, no. It's the one I'm thinking of, right?
Wait,
Trying to figure out the good manner from the bad manner.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, for the 10th time, everything from this point over is weed, so there is no good mallow. Do you even know what mallow looks like? No. This was also the night that I walked out into the kitchen because it smelled like something was burning, and this person was making fried potatoes, and he literally just put a goddamn full ass potato, didn't cut it, nothing, in a frying pan and tried to flash fry that bitch.
Should I?
Can we tell what the problem is and why this person is toxic?
Yes, we can.
So that brings another element into it, and that's why I kind of took over for you for a minute, because I don't want you to have to go into that because it could cause problems. But that brings another element into it, doesn't it? IQ plays a big part in it. And I know what we've said about IQ, but we're going scientifically here, so we're going to throw it in there because this is academic, and academic is usually tied to how well you perform in society, right?
Yeah.
So, but I have noticed, and I will say this, because of you being in special ed for as long as you were, for Ray it was different though. She's dyslexic.
I have dyslexia. That's why if you catch me with certain words, I have a hard time pronouncing certain things because it looks different and I'm not 100% sure sometimes.
And it was why I was taking for you. I know nobody, I know not everybody else does, but that's why I always take over for her when she's struggling. We found out in 3rd grade that she was dyslexic after a almost year-long battle with her teacher every fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that bitch hated me. I guarantee you that bitch hated me. But yeah, so what she was in there for is that when she took her tests, her reading comprehension wasn't where it was supposed to be because she was having problems with reading. So they would read her the questions, and after that, she grasped them very well, and she aced all of her tests from then on out. And that was the only reason she was in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying anything about kids that are in special ed. We have 2 special needs kids here.
We do.
And when I was in high school, I actually, one of my classes, I went and helped a kindergarten class and whatnot. So this is like, you know, and I know this is touchy territory, so we're not going to go anything but scientific on this, right?
Right.
Okay, but they generally tend to be the ones that have the lower scores when it comes to the aptitude tests, which are basically a modified IQ test. It's modified for the age range that's taking it. And all they're doing with those tests is gauging how you're processing what they're feeding you.
Yeah.
But like when I was in high school, it's where the problem kids went. You know, the ones with undiagnosed things like ADD and bipolar and stuff like that. Those were the kids that were always in special ed when I was in high school. And it is a proven fact at this day and age that they, if not given the proper circumstances to learn, it delays their learning because they can't concentrate. You have to make special amenities for them. And I think it's cool that this day and age they do that because my brother was dyslexic and he couldn't read until high school and they didn't catch it until he was about to graduate. And you think you have a hard time reading? My brother wouldn't read at all because he just could not make head or tails of it because everything was so scrambled. But the man was a musical genius.
Yeah.
Yeah. So feel lucky that we live in a day and age when they can catch that as early as they did, because if they would have never caught that, what do you think would have happened with my brother later on in life?
I don't know.
You know, I did that with him too. I read for him when he was having a hard time. See, and you know what was the hardest thing for me to accept? Was that everybody didn't have a brain like mine. And when I was younger, I was so frustrated by it because I just didn't get it. And like, how can you not do that? And people are like, how can you do that? I'm like, it just happens. I don't know.
But it's a good thing.
Well, that's the thing, is that everybody is special in their own way, right?
Right.
And all of our brains work differently. And while you're a mathematical genius and I can't do that, I look at numbers and they just don't make sense to me. I'm surprised I ever memorized anybody's phone number.
The numbers were easy to move.
Do you remember when I was studying for the entrance to college?
Mm-hmm.
And we were working on the math, and your younger sibling's dad was like, "Oh, this is real easy," and he's like going through it like it's nothing, and I'm like, "Oh, fuck you! What the fuck did you just do?" And he's like, "No, it's easy. Just watch this." And he's like, "Now factor this." And I sat there and stared at that page, and it did not make any fucking sense to me. And I threw it across the room and screamed, "Fuck your factoring!" at him and stomped out of the room.
You know what's really cool and why I actually grasp math of all things?
Why? Because it's abstract and you have to see and you have to think in 3 dimensions to grasp math the way you do.
Exactly.
Yes, I did know that, and that is something that they have started finding that a lot of dyslexic people can do is see. They think in 3 dimension, whereas the rest of us don't generally do that. So you actually have a super special brain when it comes to that. Isn't that cool?
It is.
I just remember shit, which is sometimes fucking hurts.
You know what I always thought was really cool about it?
Like,
The chairman for my college. That night I did that that live stream where I was doing the house and everything. He found it and he was like, "It's really cool how it took you 3 hours to figure something out, but when you did it, you were like, woohoo." And I told him, I was like, I started really grasping the concept of 3D because when you know how to move your X and your Y, your Z is easy.
yeah.
So I'm constantly doing those weird platinum fatigues. What?
Nothing.
You're being
See,
button.
you'd be really good at astronomy.
Yeah, I took that in high school.
I think that we should get a big lens for my camera because it has the Star Tracker,
Mm-hmm.
and you could do it because it's all math. And my camera's pretty badass. It was meant to do the fucking galaxy pictures and shit. That's one of the things that camera is made to do.
And you'd be okay with me doing it.
So you didn't drop it? Fuck.
Oh, hell no, I know
My
better.
baby, I fucking might just take your head off.
Hey,
I mean, no rats ain't got nothing on me, honey.
Hey, I know how to use a tripod.
If you want to use the other lens, though, we're going to have to get a stronger tripod. Well, actually, to use that camera, you're going to have to. It's heavier than my old camera.
Okay.
It's heavier by a lot than my old camera.
You do realize if you get me taking really good photos of the universe.
Yeah, I think you really do.
I'd post
I don't have the patience for it. I started reading on it, and I'm like, no, it's a lot of fucking math. I'll pass.
So what is wait, I want to Google this.
It's astrophotography.
Astrophotography, okay.
I have some friends that do it that can help you out. And they're really good.
Ooh.
Yeah. The but it's not like Hubble telescope kind of shit. But there's some cool stuff you can do with it. And if you're in the right place at the right time, you can get a lot of really cool stuff. You'd be able to get the Aurora Borealis in Colorado. And it does happen in Colorado. Crazy, huh? We're going to have to go to Iceland, though, at some point. You know why?
Mm.
I'd give a fuck, but the Aurora Borealis turns purple there sometimes. And I saw this picture. It looks so unreal. But it was from National Geographic, for fuck's sake. And I know they don't fake their shit other than behind the scenes, and you can't fake the Aurora Borealis, right? But the top half of it is this beautiful purple, and then it goes into that misty green. And I figure since it's purple, you might just love it. And it's purple and green, and that's me and Kimmy's color, so I figured that would be a nice little tribute.
Would it be alright to try to like purple?
Do you love it?
Would that be alright to try to purple?
Yeah. Okay. I think they memorialized it, so yeah. I still see it pop up. Johnny sends her messages now. It's heartbreakingly sweet as well.
This cameras.
But yeah, so my camera actually has the thing that if you get the right tripod, it'll actually move the degrees that the Earth is moving so that you can do a perfect shot so it doesn't blur. Because you know those ones where it looks like the stars are streaks across the sky? You know that is probably, okay, it's one of two things. It is either somebody in a pitch black setting with their bulb on for hours, which they do, or it is hundreds of thousands of pictures stacked on top of each other.
Oh, damn.
And my camera can be set to take a picture every like 3 seconds for 24 hours.
Yeah, that would be freaking amazing.
It's an expensive hobby, but the pictures you get are fucking amazing. And you could do it with a better tripod than the setup I have right now. It's not going to be like the really, really amazing ones, but if you really, really want to get into it, you're going to want to look for a really good long lens.
What? I wonder. It's Kmart, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, honey, they've got some. I found one that's $8,000. And it's actually a telescope that has a camera mount for the K mount, so you just put the camera on it instead of the lens of the camera.
Ooh. That's $3,000.
Yeah, I told you it's an expensive hobby.
I found one for $200.
Yeah, it probably won't hold my camera.
Found one for $300.
Honey, my camera with the big lens and the grip on it is over 5 pounds. The body alone is almost 5 pounds. And the bigger the lens, the more weight you're talking.
I'd be able to get. Okay. I think I'll talk to some of your friends and see if they can point me in the right direction. I think that would actually be awesome because you have to, yeah.
Well, it's so far left from what I do. I figured you'd be into it.
I think it'd be great. And you know what? I can.
Well, see, you'd be able to do the equations to catch the really cool stuff.
I just gotta learn about the equations and how to do it.
Yeah, I'm not good at that stuff.
And,
see, I've been watching this thing, and this guy, it's Dr. Peterson again, I love this guy. He's talking about if you tell yourself you're not good at something, your brain tells you that your brain tells itself that you're not good at it, and it won't become good at it. And he uses this reference. I love his analogy. when an Olympic skier is going down the slope, the coach never tells them, watch out for the trees, because all you're going to be concentrating on is the trees, right?
Right.
They tell them, watch the path, because the path goes through the trees, right?
Right.
So they're not watching the trees, they're watching the path. So when you tell yourself you're not good at something, your brain makes sure that you're not. But sometimes you just have to come to grips, because I've tried for how many years to learn math and it just does not work. And it's not because I go in thinking I'm going to get it this time, and then I get frustrated. But give me some geometry and I can fuck that shit up.
Does that mean I need to learn how to edit my photos too?
Yeah, because there's a lot more to edit in the Astro ones.
Oh, I know.
And I'll teach you how to do the picture stacking.
Thank you.
But if you do the picture stacking, the tripod is of the utmost importance. Because it has to be the same framing or it's going to throw everything off.
Understood.
That's all ghost images are, is 2 images on one. And my camera does that too, up to 9 images.
That's lovely.
That's why I love Pentax. I did it with film. My teacher taught me how to do it. Actually, my high school teacher taught me how to do it, and I was doing them for my college class. And it kind of weirded my professor out, but I've posted a couple of them if anybody's ever seen my Facebook. One of them is my daughter, and I love that fucking picture. It's creepy as fuck. I want to do another series, but I have this idea, and I know exactly where I want to do it. I just have yet to find the dress and the person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my little house slippers.
Oh, we could start an urban legend with an actual picture. If we did it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you put a good enough story with it. I told you, I want to see how easy it would be to do that. And what better way to do it than to have actual picture proof?
Really cool.
And well, you gotta stay true to the urban legend and start, you know how you start it is you have somebody anonymously post on 4chan, which is where all this shit gets started usually, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they bought a book at the thrift store, and when they got it home and opened it up, this picture fell out. And see if it took. Because isn't that basically what happens if somebody comes up with a really great story and it takes?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so unbelievable yet believable at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that would be a good experiment, don't you?
I do. I think it'd be great. Just, wow, so you're gonna feed my knowledge from that, huh?
Yeah, why not?
I'm excited.
I wouldn't know. Yes, I'm jealous that you're great with numbers, but I also think it's absolutely amazing. Because it's something I can't do.
That means a lot. I always love fractions.
I hate it.
I love fractions.
I literally get sick looking at them. You remember when I do my math work for college?
Mm.
Everything else, I mean, like, I'd write my papers the night before and ace them and shit like that. But the math, I worked on that shit all the fucking time, and I still had to do more work before 10 minutes before I walked into class. I was like, oh my god. And I'm pretty sure if the professor wasn't like, okay, you get 3 tries, I'll check your final, and you get 3 tries to get them right. So she checked them 3 times and let us know which ones were wrong and go back and redo them.
Nice.
I still got an A on it. I didn't have to go back the 3rd time.
That's a good thing.
I was proud of myself, and then I was like, yep, if I have to take another math class, I'm taking statistics, not this math shit. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, I can do basic math, right?
Right.
I mean, it's when you get into all that fancy shit that I get lost. I'm like, alright, never mind.
So you have fancy shits where I'm like, oh.
But you have to also understand, I think very abstract. That's why I'm a good writer. That's why I was good at music. That's why I'm good at photography, is because I think very abstractly. I see very abstractly.
Yeah.
And well, math is absolutes, and absolutes don't make sense to me. And because even like with history and stuff, there could be many answers that are correct to the same question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas math, it's nope, it's this fucking question, it's this answer, and if you didn't get it right, you fucked up. Well, what a way to make people feel like shit.
Yeah.
Nope, you are most definitely fucking wrong again.
That's funny. Is that how it was for you?
Mm-hmm. The only part of math I ever really liked was geometry. And the only reason that I made it through high school algebra was because I had an amazing teacher.
I always loved doing the weird, poems. They were graphs. Where you had to plot X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
I always loved that.
See, I always wanted to question him about the word questions. Well, why is she in the train? What is her purpose? Why is this dumb bitch in my fucking math problem? Does she know the answer? I think I even wrote that on one of my tests when it came to one of those when I was in high school.
How hard did the teacher laugh?
Oh, very. You didn't get it, did you? Hell no.
That's funny.
But they have actually done a study, and they basically deduced that if you didn't get like diagramming sentences and fractions in elementary school, you basically never do. I know them to a point. I can write grammatically correct, but I cannot diagram a sentence and tell you what's everything in the sentence. I just know that it belongs where it is.
Yeah.
That's why, as my friends so eloquently say, I write wrong so beautifully, because I do it on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, when I write, I used to write contracts, right?
Right.
So when I write, if I don't do weird shit like that, it sounds and looks very sterile. Because I'm used to writing contracts. And contracts are very sterile. Right?
Right.
So by putting that in there, it adds a little bit of a feeling to it, whereas otherwise it wouldn't have.
Right.
So I use my wrongness to my advantage to catch your attention.
Do you like my house?
Yes. But you ever notice people don't ever correct me?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's funny because I know so many grammar Nazis. And I don't get private messages. Girl, you're killing me over here. No, they just be like, yeah, that's you. I get it.
They always seem like that, though.
Yeah. Although I see so many people that think that their opinion matters. Oh my god, it's there, and there. Oh, really? And explain there, and there for me. Can you explain hair, and hair?
You're funny.
Now tell me honestly what a dingleberry is. Do you know what a dingleberry is?
I don't know what a dingleberry is. What is a dingleberry?
Merriam-Webster that shit. Seriously, you're gonna laugh.
Hold on.
I know because of my uncle.
You know, because you're...
Yeah, because he called me one, and my cousin snickered, and I was like, what's going on? And I finally cornered my younger cousin and asked her what it was, and she told me, and I was so upset.
A dingleberry?
Not a dingleberry. Is it still the definition that was there like 30 years ago?
I can see where you read.
What is a dingleberry?
I can't even say it.
It's the poop stuck on a sheep's ass, right?
It's a particle of fecal matter attached to the anal hair of an animal.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody for a dingleberry. That's terrible.
Yeah, it was the kind way of saying you're a little shit.
That's funny. Your kind way of saying you're a little shit.
Yep.
That's funny.
Yeah. The way it was explained to me, there was a sheep's ass. I guess that's the country definition of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're a little shit.
You're a little shit. Dingleberry.
That's terrible.
And it sounds so fun to say, doesn't it? Dingleberry.
It
It
does.
sounds like it's a song. Dingleberry this and Dingleberry that. You're a fucking dingleberry.
I'm gonna laugh if you ever tell my kids that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think that's funny. Yeah, the things you learn. I called a kid that once. And then I got in trouble when I told my parents. They didn't understand why it was such a big deal.
They told your parents.
Yes.
Why it was such a big deal.
Because my mom grew up halfway out. My mom grew up on a farm and knows what the fuck a dingleberry is.
That's terrible. That's fucking terrible.
Just, yeah, you know. It is a different world. I used to trip out to one of the 4-H things. Every year when I went out there for the summer, they had a big festival. And country people were just another breed.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool because it seems to be a very close-knit community. And they take a lot of pride in what they do. Like my cousin raised these literally award-winning rabbits, and she was so proud of her rabbits.
But I can talk about how your grandchildren want to do that now.
Yeah, they want to raise rabbits. I'm all for it. Fuck. The end of the world comes, they breed like a motherfucker. They grow real fast and they're tasty. Their fur don't keep you warm for shit, but it's nice decoration. Is it bad that I know that about them? We ate my fucking rabbit. That's how I know. They're yummy, okay?
Goodness.
No, like I couldn't have been 10. I had to be like 9 years old, 9 years old. And I met this other little boy in Illinois that was my age. He was a little bit older than me. And I remember he had a pet raccoon, and her name was Lucy, and she was the coolest fucking thing ever. And he gave me a rabbit to bring home, but I couldn't bring it home because I was flying. And it would have ruptured, and we thought it would have ruptured the rabbit's ears. It was the 70s. We didn't fucking know shit back then, okay? So I left it. And I came back the next year, and they told me it turned white. And this rabbit was silver. Like, literally silver. One of the ones that you blow into its fur, and there's like 7 different colors, but it looks silver. And they told me it turned white. I'm 8, 9 years old. I don't fucking know any better. I live in fucking Colorado. We ain't got rabbits around here. We got jackrabbits, and they're all brown, and they don't look like these rabbits at all. So maybe it did. And then we had this mystery meat for dinner. It did not look like anything I had ever seen. It didn't taste like anything I had ever tasted. And I had 2 servings of it because it was really fucking good. And my uncle was laughing the whole time we were eating dinner. And I didn't get what he was laughing at. And I cornered my cousin after dinner, and I was like, why was he laughing? Because that usually means that he was pulling a trick on me. And she straight up told me your rabbit didn't turn white. We ate it. That's what we were eating tonight. And that's why I quit eating meat on their fucking farm. If I didn't see it come out of the fucking package, I didn't fucking eat it. I loved the rabbit. It was a sweet rabbit, but it was fucking tasty. And I felt horrible because I enjoyed eating it. Okay? And for a city girl, that's a hard thing to come to grasp with. I ate my pet and it was yummy. Okay? Think about it. But to them, it's nothing because when the prize-winning rabbits are done, they go stud or they go die. The cows, they go die. The pigs, they go die. I read Charlotte's Web, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. You'd be amazed at how many of them are named after cuts of pork.
Goodness.
But yeah, I mean, what do you think happens with the chickens? You got this big fat hen. What are you going to do with that big fat hen?
Cook it.
Well, okay, in a survival situation, you would feed it and take care of it because it's providing protein for you every day.
Mm-hmm.
But when you live on a farm and you got 50 other chickens that are annoying little bastards, you eat the fucker. Because fucking I'm hungry, right? What's for dinner tonight? Oh no, go out to the bar and pick something. That's basically how it is. I don't want that fucking goose right there, asshole. Let me kick him to tenderize him. What the fuck? And then watching my aunt pluck the feathers off of it, because, yeah.
There we go. No.
I would very quietly sit in the corner and shuck corn.
Okay, that's my little house.
You know, it's one of the cool things we did.
Oh.
One like literally churned the butter. It was pretty cool. It was tiring as fuck. It takes for fucking ever. But they had like a real churn. And then we made ice cream once. And that's almost as hard as the fucking... But that's almost as hard as the fucking butter. Because you gotta keep it moving. Or you get ice cream moving. That's damn ice cream maker though, you know? Knowing that you worked your ass off and your arms fucking hurt. Hi.
Okay.
This is where the castle's gonna be, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually...
Funny, your character has a crown.
I know. I was actually thinking I'm either gonna do like a castle town thing, or I'm gonna do like a suburb of modern houses. And I think I'm gonna do the modern houses because we've done all the other ones and it might really be fun for the girls, and I found some really cool tutorials that had some and some really cool ideas, so yeah, it'll be Guppyville. So, learn anything tonight?
Dingleberry. Is it good mallow or is it big mallow?
I'll tell you the difference. You want to know the difference between good mallow and bad mallow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me tell you the tricky thing here. Mallow, both kinds of mallow, are the same family as the hibiscus. As are okra and the black-eyed Susans, I think they're called. They're also hibiscus. But the difference between good mallow and bad mallow is that bad mallow tends to stay very short and has white flowers that are really small and look like stars. And is a motherfucking bitch to get rid of fucking weed. And then good mallow grows tall. And it produces these pink hibiscus-like flowers on it. And dies really easy. So that's the difference between good mallow and bad mallow, okay?
Okay. So I learned something tonight.
Blueberries.
Anyway, we hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. Thank you for stopping in and watching us.
What's something like that? Is that what you're gonna say?
I don't even know what else to say.
I'm a toxic motherfucker and I know it! I'm kidding, I'm so kidding.
Am I melting you with my toxicity?
With the toxicity. Nobody on the block. Okay, yeah. I couldn't help it, sorry, it just came out. But anyhow. Anyhow, this podcast's over. Have a good night. We love you. We'll see you soon.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.